Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Ciao a tutti. This is going to be my last episode of the year. Thank you for tuning in. I have been thinking a lot about this whole year. Now, I thought last year was really bad. I feel like this year was equally as challenging to certain aspects of what happened in my life. So I'd like to give you guys a recap of what happened this year for me. And if you haven't started listening from the beginning, this will be brand new to you. If you listened from the beginning, some of these things might be redundant, but again, thank you for listening. So I'd like to start off with what made me even start this podcast was something that happened to me last December. And I was in the midst of doing an online coaching course with some ladies that I had met in October. And at the beginning, I truly enjoyed it. I was loving it. I was learning a lot. And towards December, there was something happening in my body. And I was kind of forcing my I don't know what to say, what to call it. I was trying to be a coach of some kind. And those of you that have been that were in my, God, I don't even know how to explain this, that were around me during that time, I was learning a lot about myself. And I feel bad for the people that maybe got the brunt of it, or that that saw me lost. I felt like some of my friends kind of felt me as being lost in what I was doing. And I was in fact lost because I didn't see myself in what I was presenting out into the world. Although I loved doing the meditations on Instagram, I did not like the pressure of trying to be something that I'm not. And so towards the end of December, I just kept feeling this inkling in my body, like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? And this has nothing to do with the person I took this course from. This person was very, was a special person. I'll just leave it at that. And I just fell down a rabbit hole in my own mind, imagining that what she was providing me, that was going to give me what I desired, which was money. And thus ended, I don't know how many years, probably almost 7 years since moving back from Italy, of my inner drive to make a lot of money. And I know this has to do with my past and my childhood too, because we talked about money in the sense of not having a lot of money a lot. But anyway, so my first recap of 2021. In January, I decided to start listening to my gut. I left this course I kind of stopped talking to some of the women that I was with in that course. I rekindled and got closer to some of the girls that were in this course, and I started following somebody else and another type of coach, which I don't regret, but I got lost in that as well. I'll go into that if my tangents go as far, because my tangents go pretty far. So listening to my gut was something that I feel like I haven't done in a really long time. Since moving back, I felt like I fell into like old patterns of when I was in childhood and high school and college, like just trying to make ends meet and just make a lot of money, just keep making money, make money. And I lost myself. I'm going to keep saying that word. I lost myself. I didn't know who I was. And then when I woke up on January 1st, 2021, all I saw was Italy. And all I wanted to do and talk about was Italy. I didn't want to do anything else. And so in February of 2021, I started my podcast, Florence Me, which you're listening to now. And since starting it, I can't believe how many people have been listening to it. And again, it can't be all my dad, is what I was like trying to comprehend one time with a friend. I'm like, I had 500 podcast downloads a few months ago. And I told my friend, I'm like, can't be just my dad because there's got to be other people listening to me out there. But my dad does listen religiously, and I love you, Dad. So when I started it, when I started Florence and Me, I felt like this was my calling. Like I'm calling out to all the people that, not necessarily love Florence, but maybe have some inkling inside of them that wants to be themselves, authentically themselves, follow their dream, follow their own path, and take the leap into something that's new, something that maybe your family, anyone in your family has never done. So I'm proud of that, and I'm happy I did, because I've had a lot of people contact me saying they like the fact that, one, I don't edit these at all. And I used to say that at the beginning a lot, but I really don't. So you could tell because I don't follow any regimen, Brene Brown, like pattern of like questions and like answers and like, no. And, so yeah, I appreciate that, that you guys are still listening, and there's more to come. So that's number 2. Number 3, I got clearer on what my vision was for Truly Italy. And by this point, I had, yes, at the beginning of 2021, I did start calling myself Truly Italy for my company. I let go of Light Love Yoga Italy because it was way too long. I love my friend Joni for making that first logo for me. And then my friend Chelsea, who you guys have heard, made me my second logo for Truly Italy. And I'm just really happy that I was able to find that vision inside of me again, because I knew I always wanted to do this. I knew I always wanted to take a small group of people to the hidden corners of my Tuscany, of Italy, of Florence. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And like, what was my mission in this vision? Like, what is my mission? What do I want people to come home with? And my vision turned from being a yoga retreat to a travel retreat. And a travel retreat that not necessarily is just like travel, let's talk about history, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to, these retreats are going to be about being present in the moment, learning from the locals that we do meet, learning about yourself. There will be yoga and meditation, which I had a conversation with a woman recently asking me like, oh my God, you changed everything up. I'm like, no, it's still the same. I still will be doing yoga and meditation for those that want to do it. But my main focus is showing you Italy and showing you really amazing places. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a mission statement per se, but my mission is to bring you to places where you are present, completely and utterly present with the people and the scenery around you, and appreciate all that this life has to give. It's a really long mission statement. I got to revise that. So that's probably not it. So it's okay. Then my next thing, so Stefano and I, during the pandemic, we went nowhere, as a lot of people didn't. We didn't drive anywhere. We didn't go anywhere for vacation. And Stefano told me, like, when his vacation was coming up towards the end of February, March, he's like, we need to figure out what we're going to do because I'm not staying home for my vacation. Because that's what he had to do last year. But when he stayed home, that didn't mean he stayed home because my husband is a workhorse and he loves to work. So when they called him for an emergency, he went. So he wanted to get away. So thankfully, my parents, who have a lovely timeshare with the Hyatt, we utilized that for 2 trips, which we did within 2 months because Stefano had to get it done before June. Normally we take our vacations in June and we could not. So in April, we went to Key West, which was honestly, I think I might've talked about it on here, but I felt Key West was one of those trips that made me feel alive again, made me feel grateful to be alive, even though like nobody was still following the rules of masking. And again, it's Florida. It's all right. I mean, we were outside most of the time, but, I didn't limit myself either. We saved a lot of money and I made sure that we, had fun and we didn't limit ourselves. We went to this Argentinian restaurant twice because it was delicious. Like we had a blast. It was the most amazing trip. And then a month later in May, we went to Sedona. And Sedona was, thankfully, my friend Nicole was there to guide me, but it was a hard trip. And those of you that maybe have been to Sedona, or if you're sensitive, or if you're intuitive, if you feel things, if you're connected to the spiritual realm, it is a very powerful place. The Red Rocks, there's a lot of vortexes. That's how you say it, vortexes. There's these really cool trees that like spiral because there's vortexes. Anyway, I was very emotional through the whole week. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this I don't think I did, but the emotion was not so much about me being there, but I was really diving deep into myself and I was feeling a lot about who I am, who I want to be, and just a lot of like vulnerabilities came up, which I won't go into any further because you don't want to hear about it. It's just it could go on, as you guys know. Another reason why is the fact that my father-in-law got really sick and he was rushed to the hospital. They did emergency surgery on him. He is fine. But in the midst of all that, they found more cancer. And so that whole week was really hard for me and for Stefano, but I mostly took a lot of that emotion myself because that's just who I am. I'm an emotional being. So, and you've heard me cry on here. I'm not going to cry today. I'm going to try not to. But yeah, so what that made me realize is time is fleeting. You're not always guaranteed tomorrow. So when we came back from Sedona, we started planning a trip back to see his dad in Florence, in Italy, in Tuscany. And so we booked a flight. I think we booked our trip the beginning of June. And yeah, it was that decision, which was hard for Stefano to make because he likes to go different places. He doesn't always like going back to Italy. So it was hard for him to say, okay, yeah, I want to see my dad. But no, not hard for him to say that. He wanted to see his dad, but also just using his vacation time. I guess that's the other thing. But again, he could care less. It was his dad. He wanted to see his dad. So yeah, so we were lucky enough to travel during COVID. I mean, both of us vaccinated, went through all the hoops and ladders of all the paperwork to get to see his dad for a nice long, almost 10 days with his dad. Well, and you guys know, like, okay, the trip wasn't mostly with his dad, unfortunately, because his family, his extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins wanted to see us. So it was really hell on earth, to be honest, because we were driving all over the place, and Stefano and I decided the next time we're there, we're going to say, okay, we are meeting at this restaurant at this time on this street in Florence. If you want to come and see us, great. If you don't, great. It's fine. Because us driving around, it was really hard. And a side note from that, like, so I'll say my best friend, I've known him for like 20 years. My friend Simone lost his mom in July, 2 days before we arrived to see his dad, suddenly. And I don't talk a lot about him, but I know, and I don't think he listens to this anyway, but like, I felt really, 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 really close to him that trip. And then when I was lucky enough to go on Chelsea's wonderful retreat in September, I grew even closer to him when I saw him in September. So, I mean, I already talked about this, but I'm also realizing how important friendships are, those that you keep up with, and it's a two-way street, and it's like, you know what your role is in the friendship. And that's what I realized with Simone. Like, he's amazing. He's a really good friend. He was in my wedding. He's a great person. And another lesson of just understanding that, like, even if you've lost friendships this year, lost relationships, broke up with somebody, lost a job. I mean, all those are reasons why you don't need them anymore, or you're growing out of them. You are learning from them. You are evolving from them. And I stopped talking to a lot of people this year. Not by choice, just by the fact that we're not, as social. Not that I won't talk to these people again, but I understand who is really my friend or really part of my life and who is just an acquaintance, and maybe I see them once in a while. But like, again, no hard feelings of anybody that I don't talk to anymore, but why? COVID. But anyway, I just think friendships are something to be treasured. And if you're not treasured in the friendship, why are you still in the friendship? Why are you still giving if you're not receiving enough? And yeah, I mean, I feel like my friend Laura, we exchanged, I don't know why I use the word exchanged, but we have grown into really good friends. We had a falling out when I moved away, but we came back to center, and I feel really, really connected to her all the time. And I hope you know that, Laura, if you listen. I feel like she is. So I took the business trip in September. We're getting into the fall now, with Chelsea, which proved to me that I need to start doing more traveling on my own, for business, obviously, but also it really rejuvenated my soul on how capable I am of doing what I want to do. And if I don't start acting like I want this to be a business, it's not going to be a business, right? So I did a lot of research. I networked with some people. I can't wait to go back to Castiglione Fiorentino and Cortona and Pienza and all those places that Chelsea took us. I'm really, really excited to explore more. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm happy that I made a new friend, because Chelsea and I feel like we are solely connected by the fact that we're both obsessed with Italy. And yeah, so that was another thing I learned and have done, and I'm so happy I did. Before I left for September, the September trip, I hired a beautiful group of women from Canada called Virtual Balance, web design and branding team. And I was blown away by their professionalism, by how timely everything happened. They were so on point, exactly what I wanted. And now I'm incredibly happy about my website. Right now, my website is down because I feel like I disconnected something on my old hosting site, and I feel like that's what happened. So if you are trying to look at my website, it should be up by Wednesday, December 22nd. I'm hoping. But it was disconnected a little bit. And yes, so I'm very happy I did that. I put I invested in myself. I invested in the website, and it looks amazing, and it's very clean cut. And there's so many ways you can contact me for different things, from my travel consulting, my trip consulting, to coming on a retreat with me personally. So I'm really excited about that. Very proud of myself. I also took on more at the country club I work for. And those of you that don't know, because I don't really talk about my day job, I am a fitness director at a local country club here in my town. And I took on more clients. I started noticing things about me that I was kind of drawing people to me because of how much I have changed since January 1st, and how I was listening to my gut. I was following the signs of the universe and doing what feels right for me. And people were attracted to me and gave me more clients, gave me more people coming into my class. I recently, as of last week, had 10 people in my class. And if you saw my fitness center and my studio, it's quite small. So that was a lot of people. But I was very, very happy about doing that, and having more people in my class, and getting to know people intimately, and also learning about their families and their grandkids and all that stuff. And I feel like now, I didn't talk about this earlier, but I will talk about it, but I like really observing people. And if you like to observe people in like big, like airports and like big community places, like that's me, like on the side, like watching people talk to each other. And like I like to observe and listen and hear people's thoughts, like when they're talking and stuff. So suffice it to say, I've kind of gotten really into science-y, brain functioning, neuroscience type of reading and researching, not necessarily writing a paper, but I was lucky enough to get a gift from one of my favorite clients at the club. And she gave me Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. And that was on my list to buy. I have like a whole bunch of lists on Amazon to buy. And she and I talk about Brene Brown all the time. And I am so glad she gave me this book, because it is amazing. I'm like reading it really slowly so I can get every tidbit out of it. I also started reading and listening to a lot of Dr. Gabor Mate. And he recently had a live, a streaming movie that was made on his behalf called The Wisdom of Trauma. So talking a lot about trauma in life and childhood and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to get all sciencey on you, but I'm just saying there's a lot to be said about what we grew up with. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be like physical trauma or like sexual trauma or anything like that, but there's random pieces of trauma that even into adulthood that can stick with you. And I've anyway been working on that and working through that. And I feel like that has opened my senses up even more. And that's why more people are being kind of attracted to me and I'm being attracted to them, because we're so open and we're so willing to learn about this human condition that we're in. And lastly, I won't get all into Brene Brownie. I would totally keep talking about her because I love her. But last thing I did, and I'm very proud of, I created and hosted a successful wellness day at this country club that I work at. And it proved to me that I am capable of doing a freaking week-long trip in Italy. Like, hands down. Like, I felt it went swimmingly. I felt like I was present with everybody. I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't. I was authentically myself. And everyone gave me like rave reviews on how special it was. And they could tell I put in a lot of time and effort into making the day there a special day for them. And I'm really proud of myself. And I think you should all be proud of yourselves as well. Whatever you've done this past year, even if you think you haven't done anything, I'm sure you have. There's something to be said about praising yourself and celebrating yourself. So I celebrate you. I celebrate you for listening to me and maybe even wanting to come on a retreat with me. I celebrate you. You deserve it. You deserve to get away and see a world that is not outside your door right now. Maybe there's snow. Maybe you're in sunny Florida. Maybe, I don't know. But you deserve to try something new. So don't ever underestimate how capable you actually are. Don't think, I don't want you to think at the end of your life, what if I did this? What if I did that? Like, that's what I realized when I was in Key West. Like, if I didn't put my mind to doing Truly Italy and creating this vision, and I die tomorrow, or I die, and I just realize, shit, you loved Italy. Why didn't you go back? I would be so upset. Live in the moment. Over the holidays, when you get together with family, if you are, or if you're doing a Zoom because you want to be safe, be in the moment. Put your phone down. I talk about this a lot because I think everybody's family has this, but like, you don't need to take pictures of everything. You can use your eyes. Yeah, your eyes work. Sit down and have a nice conversation with your uncle or your aunt or your sister or your brother or your dad. Like, listen. Like, actually listen to what they're saying. Maybe turn the TV off while there's family around. Maybe just listen to music. Maybe listen to Christmas music. Maybe look at the little babies walking around if you have little toddlers or babies, or play a game. We only have this moment, and then this moment, and then it's gone. We work up so much hype on every holiday and think that, it has to be perfect. It has to be this. We have to have all these vegetables, and then we have to have all these meats, and we have to have all this, who's bringing what, and don't get too drunk, and like, who cares? Like, someone used to always say to me, you only have your family. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, that's one thing that's constant in your life is your family. And yeah, sometimes people's families aren't the best. And, it's, touch and go sometimes for a lot of us. But I ask you just to live in the moment. Be present with the people around you. Instead of taking a million selfies with, the little baby that just got born, like, why don't you just look at that baby? How precious life is. and live in that moment. And take the leap. Take the leap into whatever your next adventure might be. Maybe you are deciding to sell everything and travel the world. Amazing, by the way, if you're doing that. I'd like to know what your blog is if you're doing that. Maybe you're switching jobs. Maybe you just lost your job. Maybe you're having, family issues that you'd like to work on. Maybe you want to seek a therapist. Whatever it might be, take that leap for you. Because the only other thing that I think about, the advice I would give to you, if you're thinking that you're disconnected from yourself, which a lot of us are, you really need to get with a professional psychotherapy therapist. You need to talk to somebody. And I know this is a hard time for a lot of people too, that have lost people to COVID and the horrible tornadoes in the South. There's like a typhoon just happened yesterday. There's all these freak things that are happening that you just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So why not start now? Take the risk, take the leap. Take the leap and the net will appear. And good God, people, listen to your gut. Listen to your gut instincts. Listen to your intuition. If something doesn't seem right, it's probably not right. Stop not listening to your body. Stop thinking that it's going to be okay if it hasn't been okay for months. Stop making excuses for other people. Listen to your gut. Your gut knows what you want and what you deserve and what you're capable of. And those of us that seem to kind of jump to one thing to another, and maybe they're following certain people or certain paths that aren't necessarily theirs, stop doing that. Just stop. Follow your path, that gravel path, that path that nobody has ever been down, because it's all like covered with like leaves coming over it. There's branches, there's trees, there's things need to be pruned. Like, you go down that path. Go down that path where nobody's gone because it looks too creepy or it looks too scary, it looks too dodgy, it looks too risky. Go down that path. Just because other people are successful in one path doesn't mean that you're going to be that on that path as well. Everybody is different. Everybody's vision, everybody's purpose, everybody's vision is different. And if you are like I was the past 7 years, trying to make as much money as possible, following job after job that tells you you're going to make a shitload of money, stop doing that too. Because money does not bring you happiness. It doesn't. Look around and see all the beauty around you right now. Go out into nature. Listen to the birds. Take a walk. If you're in a warmer climate, put your feet in the ground. If you're not, look at the beautiful trees or the snow-capped mountains, wherever you are. Just revel in that. Nature is a beautiful thing, and not enough of us appreciate it. The power of it and how it helps soothe us out of the worries of the life that we live. I know me saying all this is you're probably like, okay, there's a lot of shit going on. There's like freaking politics here. There's travel restrictions there. There's COVID. There's this. There's natural disasters. I know it sucks. It sucks a lot. But if we don't look around us and appreciate what we have, and we're just constantly in this state of fear, which honestly, hand up if you're fearful sometimes. Oh, yeah. Or turn off the news first if you're fearful a lot. But, I mean, I always found, at least during the pandemic, when I took my walks, like that calmed me. As much as I probably was walking and crying at the same time because I was listening to podcasts and listening to meditations. But at least I came home feeling cleared and calm. And then I probably cried again. But besides the point. And the most important thing is how you feel with yourself. This is my lesson to you. When you understand what your body's reactions are to certain things and know where they come from, then you can heal from them. I've been on a journey of healing all my childhood trauma, adulthood trauma for many years now. And meditation is one of the go-tos that I always try to keep into my life. And as you guys know, I just started meditating again recently, consistently. But I've come back to center. It's like it's as if I hadn't stopped meditating. So I'll leave you guys with the thought, you will only live once. Okay? Listen to your gut. Stop following other people. Follow your own path. Take the leap. Live in the moment. Don't underestimate how capable you are. And look around you for the beauty that thrives in nature, in this world. Oh, and the most important thing, please be kind. Please be kind. Kindness is so easy. You never know where people are at. So please just be kind. I hope you guys have a very happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Buon Natale. Buon Anno Nuovo. I cannot wait to feel and see and be in 2022. There's so much to look forward to. That sounded weird. There's so much to look forward to. That sounded like a question. Live each day as if it's your last. Okay? And be kind. Did I say that? Allora, ci si vede. A presto tutti. Buon Natale. Ciao. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all of my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.